Garrett here for Brett and Heather. Got a little bit of criticism that I'm going to give today, feedback. I love what you guys do. I love the depth, the subject matter, the fearlessness, and the fairness that you apply to the things that you delve into. So it's a great value. You know it. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. And I don't have to say anymore. So there was the speculation that Omicron is part of a new parlance to make people feel clever about being able to pronounce it and to say it, and that this was part of a narrative hack to try to get people buy people into the psychology of feeling clever about being able to pronounce it. I don't think so. I really think that's off. What they've been doing is basically going through the Greek alphabet, and what happened is they got to new, and new is sounds like new, right? I mean, homophonically, it's got the same pronunciation, and so when people hear new, they think like it's a new one, right? And yeah, it is, but it's kind of ambiguous because that's not what we mean. We don't mean the new one, because then the one that follows Omicron could be the next new one, and then we're not sure what we're talking about. So they got rid of new, they skipped that, and then the next one would have been Z, XI. And then the problem with that, obviously, Xi Jinping, Mr. Winnie the Pooh, who is very, very thin-skinned, and the US basically kissing up to China, Chinese Communist Party. And I do like to differentiate China, a very old culture with a lot of history, from the Chinese Communist Party, a fairly new, very new in the history and scope of the history of China regime that I don't think is doing the Chinese culture or public any good at all. I think it's a terrible thing. I don't like the Chinese Communist Party. Never have, never been a fan ever since I was a little kid, learning about the horrors of Tiananmen Square. Never been a fan of the Chinese Communist Party, and then a lot of the other things that go on that they do. So, but about this Omicron, no, it's not part of a new parlance, but it is significant to be able to pronounce it, or I should say, let me turn it around. When people can't pronounce it properly and then they try to give you advice on what to do about it, that's a red flag, right? Like if you can't fucking pronounce it, like we had President Biden, doing his national press release where he's saying, he's talking to the press, addressing the public, and telling everybody that the new variant, long pause of silence, Omicron, is how he pronounced it, and here's what you got to do to deal with it, and here's what we're doing to deal with it. Well, I don't think he's pulling the strings there. I think somebody's pulling the strings on him. I don't think he's calling the shots. I think he's saying what people are actually saying. And when he pronounces it Omicron, well, that's understandable. I mean, he's probably got 100 fires to put out, and he's not running on all four. He's barely, it's pretty clear he's far into cognitive decline. This dude is just not able to function cognitively on a normal level. He's well past his cognitive prime, and he's into the twilight years. He's not functioning properly. It's just like, just listen to him, So he's out here saying about the new variant, long pause of silence, Omicron. He's still failing to pronounce it properly. He's struggling, bumbling over elementary sentences. Okay, that's somewhat understandable, all right? I'm not trying to just rag on him for some little, thing that doesn't matter that much. He couldn't pronounce it. He probably just learned it, and he's still trying to figure it out. And he's got a bunch of other shit to deal with because he's the president, and he's got a fucking ton of things to do. And he's not that smart anyways, so fine. Now, the real problem is when he's trying to give medical advice. Now, a lot of people will say, well, the president shouldn't be giving medical advice. And I would disagree with that. I would disagree that the president should never be able to give medical advice. And I think anybody can give any advice they want to, right? If somebody says, hey, I think it's a good idea to eat a lot of fiber in your diet, and other people say, hey, well, you know what? You don't want to eat a lot of carbs. And everybody's going to have their own opinion. And I'll listen to anybody. I don't care what letters you have after your name or not. If you've got facts, if you've got reason, if you've got evidence, I'll make a consideration for you might know what you're talking about. You might be an amateur. You might be just love what you do, and you research it so in depth that you have something valuable to add about that subject matter. You might know something. I don't have to, but I can. And a lot of times I will give people the generosity of being able to listen to what they say. And that's why I'm a big supporter of free speech. And I've always been against credentialism. I don't care if you have a PhD. If you're an idiot, if you're wrong, that's all that it matters. Now, in the case of the president, if he's giving me medical advice, which he's trying to do to the whole country, when he says, and this is what he said, the best thing we can do is to get vaccinated, and if you've been vaccinated, to get boosted. Now, here's why. First of all, easiest low-hanging fruit on that one is if he's saying, here's your medical advice for this new variant, and he can't even pronounce the variant, it's not about me feeling suave or smug or anything like that I can pronounce it and he can't. It's more about he can't pronounce it and he's trying to give medical advice. No. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Obviously, it's very low-hanging fruit to see and to debunk you, to discredit yourself. You discredit yourself by not being able to pronounce it in the first place. So that's not about the narrative thing. It's just one more thing. It's not about being suave or being smart or anything like that. No. And so fine. Okay, so we've got a person who doesn't know anything about healthcare, trying to call the shots, tell you how to manage your health, doesn't know what he's talking about, can't even pronounce it, doesn't provide any reasons for why we should get vaccinated or boosted for the Omicron variant. He doesn't have any reasons. He doesn't know what they are. He's not even aware of the fact that it matters whether or not he has reasons, because to him, it doesn't matter. He's saying what he's been told to say. So he's not pulling the strings, right? Does he have good reasons for saying that? No, he doesn't. He thinks we're supposed to obey his authority. This is why I don't care, even if he was a doctor, even if he does have a bunch of letters after his name, he still has to provide those reasons. We still have to know why he thinks that getting vaccinated and getting boosted protects you specifically. Why is vaccination and boosting the best solution to the Omicron variant? That's the question you have to ask. This is why I'm so against credentialism and so for free speech. This is why I got as good as I did at all the things that I've done. Because I always question myself with a very critical mind. And people say, oh, Garrett, you're so critical on everybody else. I have no idea how critical I've been on myself. That's why I take this critical mindset everywhere I go. Now, if we look at the particular case of the person who had Omicron that was tested for, he had COVID, but it was the Omicron variant in the US. Had that person been vaccinated? Yes. Had that person gotten boosted? Yes. And they still got the Omicron variant. So now what? So does that mean that they were prevented from dying because they got vaccinated and boosted? Were they afforded any other extra protection from getting vaccinated? Well, we don't know that. There's really no evidence to say that. In fact, there's some negative evidence to say that it looks like he already got vaccinated, he got sick, he had the Omicron variant. Looks like that vaccine's not really working for him. I mean, maybe it protected him from dying. Maybe he would have been sicker. Maybe. But that's about the best we can say is maybe. That's not a high degree of confidence. That's maybe like a 10% confidence that probably it could have maybe helped him, maybe. But I'm not really sure about. Probably, I don't know. We have to see more. Okay? So rather than jump to their go-to, which is vaccination and boosters, what they should really be going to is not discrediting themselves. Like I'm almost trying to advocate for them to do their job better. Like if they were really trying to be these people who are trying to make sure that you get vaccinated and they didn't even care about you, but they just wanted to make money or whatever, it was some ploy to get you to vaccinate, just hypothetically speaking. Why would they want to discredit themselves by saying something that might not be factually true? Because, they really don't have a good degree of confidence. Getting vaccinated and boosted is the best possible way to protect against the Omicron variant. And that's why we have all the censorship and they got rid of the count on the dislikes button. They want to just silence everything and they want to push this narrative that they're trying to convince themselves is believable when it's not. It's clearly not believable. That's why we got to have people to actually question things. That's why I got more people putting videos up and hopefully doing a better job than I'm doing at putting these videos up. But I'm going to put my neck out there, putting these fucking videos up. If I try and get a job and people see that I'm putting videos like this up and anti-vaccine, conspiracy theory, whatever, they'll put labels on it. I'm not gonna get a fucking job. People are gonna put a label on me. They're gonna fucking say what they're gonna say. But yeah, I'll come out here. I'll put my fucking real name on it. I'll put my face on it. I'll say what I have to say. We need more people that are gonna actually come out and ask these kinds of questions. That's what we need more of. The answer to bad speech is not censorship. It's more speech. I'm not trying to censor Joe Biden for being an idiot. I say, let the blithering fool say false things. You know, if he wants to say false things, let him stick his foot in his dumb old mouth. It's just going to show, and everybody's going to realize it. And then we need more people like me to point that fact out. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.